Hello, AK.
Hi, Chaco.
How are you, mate?
I'm good. And you?
Excellent. Hello, everyone. Thank you all. If you are coming in for the second time, we appreciate it. If this is your first time, we appreciate you coming on, checking us out. As I mentioned, this is a very good friend of mine, Alok. Uh, we basically, we like to talk geopolitics, and we thought we'd just bring this on the screen. Um, Today we're going to have this conversation. It's a not free-flowing conversation. We'll just continue with where we stopped off last time. But what we're also going to do is have a chat about the implications of the SCO Summit that recently concluded, the SCO Summit in China, where the three big boys, that is Russia with Vladimir Putin, and China, who hosted it with Xi Jinping, and then obviously the Prime Minister of India with Prime Minister Modi also in attendance. So the RIC basically is what we're talking about. Just a couple of things. Look, I would appreciate if you can subscribe. Just remember, you're not paying for it. So the subscription is just to help the algorithm basically, pick up and say that you are interested in our content, and would appreciate it also. And if you like the content, also give us a thumbs up. That would be immensely appreciated. So just to give you a bit of a background, we're going to be talking about the SCO. I'll just give you a quick synopsis of it. So if you don't know what the SCO is, it stands for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It's initially started in 1996, and it was called the Shanghai Five. That was Russia, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. I struggle with that part. Anyway, it was basically designed for resolving border issues, but then in basically in 2009 it became this Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and currently it has a significant number of members. And so that's basically what it's all about. So I guess so what I'll do is I'll get AK to talk about the SCO Summit and what are his thoughts. So over to you, AK.
Thanks, Chaco. The SCO Summit is, in terms this time, gathering lots of eyeballs for a number of reasons.
I agree.
Each one depending on which camp you belong to. And again, it is also a bit more important because PM Modi went to China after 7 years.
Yeah.
Since his last visit, and in between two, Modi was not generally attending the SCO Summit meetings. He'd rather send the foreign minister, or it would probably be a online meeting which he would attend. And the reason why people are excited about this, for a number of reasons. One of them being the effects of the tariffs imposed by Mr. Trump. I wouldn't call it the American government. I'd call it President Trump, because that's his personal agenda. And if you've also heard recently, a U.S. federal High Court judge, or is it judge, came up with a decision to say that the tariffs that were imposed were illegal, and Mr. Trump now is in the Supreme Court. So let's see how that goes.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Because there's always that thought process that usually foreign policy is the purview of the U.S. president, but look, it's interesting. Tariffs obviously is meant to be handled by the legislature, but there's something called executive orders, so that usually supersedes everything. All right. So, what do you think of the SCO itself? This why? Look, there's a lot of noise about it. I have my own personal views on it, but I just thought I'd ask you. There's been a lot of gnashing of the teeth in the West, you would say, and yeah. So, do you have any thoughts on it? And obviously, there was a lot of noise about it.
There was a lot of noise. Like I mentioned, people reacted depending on which side of the thought they were. The big three, as you mentioned, they had their own message that they're sending out, specific messages.
Agree.
Mr. Putin wanted to show that he has friends and he's not been sidelined, as the West was trying to do so in the past so many years since the Ukraine war started, and slightly before that. The Chinese Oga, or the man in charge there, he wanted to prove that he is still very powerful and that he can get together a huge number of people together, countries together under one banner. And PM Modi wanted to show that probably to the West in general, and Mr. Trump in particular, said, look, we have options.
And the West is just not the only option. And if you try and sanction us a bit, we can find other markets.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not working out, it's okay. We will find our own way through. We will find our ways through the rivers and the waters, and we have other options.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Here's my thought process, right? And I hope you don't mind me taking over, right? So just to start off with, the United States foreign policy has had two major people that has an incredible influence on it. One was Henry Kissinger, right? Henry Kissinger during Nixon's time. And the other person that has had continuous influence, even though he's dead, is Brzezinski. And Brzezinski was born in Warsaw in 1938, went on to Harvard Law School to become a lawyer, and then he was also a lecturer there, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then he also went through McGill University and things like that. But he was the national security advisor of Jimmy Carter. And him and Cyrus Vance used to have a lot of clash. Now, Cyrus Vance was, if I'm not mistaken, the Secretary of State at that time. Brzezinski's influence on the United States foreign policy is immense. A lot of people don't understand. They all talk about Kissinger, but this guy has had immense influence on it. And actually, his thought process is what's currently driving the U.S. policies. For example, I'll tell you why I think in this direction. Now, look, guys, it's all our opinions. You can go and research it. I would say this to you, both me and Alok, we are not foreign policy experts. None of us came through political schools. Alok is an engineer. I am an engineer. He's a computer engineer. I happen to be, well, I studied electrical engineering, but I'm doing something else. But none of us came through, political science departments or anything like that. But these are our thoughts, and it's going to be free-flowing. Okay, coming back. Brzezinski basically said, if you want to control the world, you have to control the Eurasian continent. The Eurasian continent is all of Europe and Asia included. And that was his main game. And that's what basically, that policy has been what's been driving the American foreign policy since his time. So they now control Europe, obviously, all the way up to the border of Russia. And according to Brzezinski, basically he said, we have to make sure that Russia does not control the Eurasian continent. And he said, without Ukraine, they can't do it. Hence, you understand why they have been continuously going on this Ukraine part of it. Just whatever it takes to win this war, to do anything, just so that Russia does not win this war. And that's basically, I think, where this is going. Now, why? They also wanted one thing. They wanted to keep Russia separate from China. And that's one of the things that obviously Kissinger did. He did it really well and he separated them out. But what is happening is that these two guys are coming together, right? And with these two guys coming together, that's really, really, really powerful. And now, with the advent of these Trump tariffs, what has ended up happening is it's also brought India into the fold, right? Now, that's a significant number of, in terms of population, that's basically one of the things that's also playing up. So when you look at the three, that's why I said the three big boys, Russia, China, and India, all right? So basically, that's why I think the SCO this time was a big deal. The other aspect of it is, as Brzezinski said, controlling the Eurasian continent would mean that you control everything. At this moment in time, they're getting challenged, and China is challenging it. The other aspect of it also is that if you see the way for anyone to grow their economy, you need a lot of energy. Now, a lot of the energy was coming from the Middle East and from all other places, and it had to come through the Straits of Malacca. And well, doctrinally, what basically it means is that if the United States had choke points, basically, so if they went into war with China, they can choke the Malacca Straits, right? With the help of India also. We can choke the Malacca Straits and basically starve China of energy. What Russia and China has done is just built a pipeline, right? So what's called the power of Siberia and the power of Siberia 2. Power of Siberia is currently sending about 38 billion cubic meters of gas, which can be taken up to 40, 45. And then the power of Siberia 2, which is a POS2, which has a capacity of 50 billion cubic meters of gas, which can also go up. So altogether, we're talking nearly 80 to 100 billion cubic meters of gas can power the Chinese economy. So if there is, by any situation, there's a war, or say, for example, over Taiwan or anything like that, you can't choke them off. The energy is going to still keep flowing. And that is the big deal. And if India comes into the fold, it even is a much bigger deal. And that's why I think the SCO this time was really, really big. Just let's not forget, we had 500 years of Western domination, 200 years of colonization of India. And at the end of the Second World War, colonization or colonialism came to an end. But it didn't completely finish up. Yes, we had governments in India, Nigeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and all these countries, they all started having them, but there was a lot of control. It has now taken another 80 years for these controls to start breaking away. And this is the important thing. So what we're seeing is basically a situation of where the dominance is coming down to the point where they don't have that power anymore, right? Imagine in 1947, immediately after we got our independence, and I say we, I'm talking about India, the British still had a lot of say in our things, right? And but what we're moving away from is a point where we're just saying, well, you know what, you can sanction us, but we're going to look somewhere else. And that's basically what the Russians have done too. You know, they've been sanctioned from here to Timbuktu, but they're surviving. They're doing really well, right? And they can't do anything to China simply because they have a lot of things that the West needs. So sanctioning them becomes really impossible. And secondly, more importantly, even if you sanction them, they don't give a damn. They don't. They can trade elsewhere. So that is why I think the SCO this time has been really, really important. Thoughts?
Quite a lot you said there. I do agree with some of the points that you've mentioned before. I'd just like to add some things to that. India,
Yeah,
like you mentioned, was under foreign powers for about
200 years.
800 years?
Foreign powers?
Yeah, we had the
Mughals? Oh, you're talking that?
Yeah, I'm adding that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because people forget that
fair
before they came in, India was controlling about 67% of the world economy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not forget that, because history has sort of a way of repeating itself. All the trade in the world was based out of the Indian Ocean,
Yes.
the Asia Pacific. That's where the central control of trade was passing through, because everything had to go through the Indian Ocean, whether it needed to get to Europe or it needed to go towards China as well, and the Asia Pacific, where you have Indonesia and other countries there. And after a while, we went through that phase of 800 years of foreign domination, 200 years of British rule, and then when the British left in 47, India was a country that could be controlled. They're still finding its way. they had people in place who were trained by the British
Yeah.
to behave like the
100%.
British, to think like the British. A
Agree.
lot of our history was sort of rewritten, or things were put down
Yeah.
or hidden away so that people didn't know what actually was happening,
Yeah.
or what our history was.
Mhm.
So the common Indian psyche is of that of a subjugated slave, if I might put it that way.
That's a hard word.
It is,
It's really hard.
because some of the common words that you hear even today, where a poor man, when he's talked to an officer, a military, probably a police officer or a government official, you see him, the way he stands and the kind of reverence he does is genetically inbuilt from the time when the British were there and the Muslims were there. So that being there, the West had it very easy to be able to control the way we were building ourselves.
Can I step in a little bit? Can I just say, when the British came in, we had 25% of the world trade.
Yep.
By the time they left, we had barely 2%.
We had less than 2%.
Yeah, they raped us, literally. And everyone that says that the British came in and gave us a railway and gave us democracy, I'm sorry, you don't need to do that with the point of a gun, kill people and cut off their hands just to give us democracy and the railway. I just stepped in.
And just to add to what you just said, it's around 45 trillion pounds that the British took away from India.
Absolutely,
in 200 years.
Yeah.
So, and that is at that time. So, and if you calculate by today's value, it would be much more higher.
Absolutely.
They took away all our resources. They used to sell us back
finished goods.
Something that what the West now wants to start doing again, especially Mr. Trump. He wants us to open up the markets so they can come and dump their goods in India.
That's right.
They see the economy, a population of 1.4 billion people, still continuing to grow for probably another 20-30 years. So, I mean, there is a lot of consumption going on at this point in time. And what would probably happen is that once you open up the economy to the West, or
the United States
in particular, all your manufacturing would probably cease to stop.
So basically, we're getting colonized again in a different manner. We have a head of state that's Indian, but look, these guys are running the show.
The British used to also tariff us, right?
For absolutely.
For taking anything that was coming in was free, but anything that you're sending out
was tariffed.
Tariffed.
So basically,
we are going to that thing.
You are going back into that.
Now,
yes.
Now, because India has a way of always rising like a phoenix, suddenly you find that people find it hard to ignore India. You may not like India, you may not like the way they do the thing, but you can't ignore it. I mean, you are the fourth largest economy. In a few months' time, you probably end up being the third largest economy. You can't be ignored. You saw that in G7. Initially, Canada was not planning to invite India. And then you had the Europeans stepping down and saying, no, we need India there. So that is the kind of effect you are beginning to have on them. Now, because you're still not in a position, okay, you can't be ignored, but you can't put your foot down. Why? Because you're just a 4 trillion economy at this point in time.
Correct.
The minute you reach 10 trillion and above, that is when you have your own say as well.
Correct.
So what is happening now is that they're trying to control you so that you don't get to that point. They say, okay, we are okay with them not
being
ignoring
4 trillion or being 5 trillion, maybe
10 trillion in the next probably
10 years.
Not even 10 years, probably another 7-8 years. We should be there. So whatever is happening right now, that is what they're trying to do. And likewise, and America initially thought that it would need India to handle China, but they think that they have found a way of dealing with China. So they now say, okay, fine, we won't wait until that 1930-32. Let's start stopping them from now. in growing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you see all the tariffs coming in, all the anti-India comments coming out from suddenly.
Mm.
Oh,
The Maharaja of tariffs and
Maharaja
the Brahmins are taking
the Brahmins taking over this thing.
Yeah.
The
guy doesn't have a clue what he's talking about.
They're taking out jobs. And if you look at the actual situation in America, the Indians, they are probably the highest tax-paying guys. They are probably one of the highest income groups there.
It is the highest, actually.
You find a
so
lot of
the average
doctors,
wage.
They take care of the healthcare, the IT, the startups, the big Fortune 500 company guys are being headed by Indians, and they reach there not because they smuggle themselves their way through. They have actually worked their way up there.
No, I completely agree. I mean, like, if you look at the average wage of a white American male, or let's just put American. No, sorry, apologies. I don't want to sound racist here, and so it's definitely not racist. Please take that. The more important thing is the average wage of an American born and brought up in the U.S., non-Indian or any other ethnic class, is about approximately $50,000. The average wage of an Indian guy, if you take it across, and only 1% of the population, by the way, is $150,000. So basically, it's 3x, right? So I can tell you that the difference. So that tells you how, the amount of that goes to your point of basically for their population size, the amount they contribute to the federal exchequer is phenomenal.
And Jago, the other thing that the West, the Anglo-Saxon part of it, it would also include America because there are a lot of Anglo-Saxons.
Certainly is, yeah.
They say that, we rule these buggers for 200 years. Okay, how can these dirty brown people grow like this? They are outgrowing us. They
don't say it. They don't say
won't say it. They won't, of course, it's always behind the scenes, but that is the way they are thinking.
Absolutely. I mean,
tomorrow, if a country in Africa, let's say Nigeria or any other country, South Africa, or somebody comes up,
they would have the same.
Growing, they will have the same reaction.
Absolutely.
Say, why we rule these guys? How can they become bigger than us?
Yeah.
And that is also part of the thought process, trying to bring people down.
But
same thing applies to China, Russia. In this case, the Europeans, they don't get along with the Europeans, right?
Who?
The Russians.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, go on.
So Russia is focusing its attentions towards Asia rather than going out. They tried very hard to work with the European, the West, but it didn't work out for them. So now they are looking eastwards as well. That's why you probably see a lot of activity happening between India and Russia, China and Russia. Also, Russia is sort of dependent on China these days because of the Ukraine war. And in some ways, Russia is like a junior partner to China.
Yeah,
which Mr. Putin sort of doesn't like, and is trying to get out of this situation. And that is why there's a lot of focus on India and Russia, so that they can sort of counterbalance China within that SCO and the BRICS circle.
Yeah, can I come with the counter narrative, if you don't mind? Can I step in? Look, I think that's all narrative. So let's start with the first part, right? When you said Russia wanted to work with the West. That is so true. 1,000 years they've been trying to do this, but fundamentally, without fail, every time there's the West. And when I say the West, I'm talking all the way to Finland here. All right, and that might not be West per se, but I'm going to take it all the way to Finland.
Finland used to be part of Russia at one point in time. Was it Sweden?
No. Swedes fought a 20-year war with the Russians, man. So let's face it. I mean, how many times the West have tried to invade it? Napoleon tried it twice. Germany tried it twice. I mean, like the Swedes have done it, the Finns have done it. You name it. They've all gone fighting the Russians, and they've all come back with their tails behind their back. And that's basically the history of it. And yes, the Russians, there's the European part of Russia and the Asian part of Russia. That's the biggest issue that most people don't have a problem with. They're happy with the European part, but don't want the Asian part. So there's a level of racism that comes into this game, right? So Russia's tried to get along with the West. And when they try to get along with the West, they're always considered a junior partner.
Yep.
All right. Now, and obviously with the breakup of the Soviet Union, they thought it's done, right? And so we have now got them, right? But what has Putin done, or Vladimir Putin done, was just build this economy up where it's phenomenal now. And this concept that there's a junior partner with her, it's a Western concept. I completely disagree with it. We all trade with each other, right? We all do. The Chinese can't trade. They know perfectly well that if they don't trade with Russia, and basically the gas and the raw materials that come, they are completely stuffed, because once the block of the Strait of Malacca, their economy is dead.
Yep.
So this concept of junior partner, I think, does not exist. However,
there is the dependency, Chinese dependency on Russia has grown
significantly.
That is why China thinks that they can control that relationship, but they are slightly mistaken in that.
Absolutely, everyone, but the Chinese are not stupid either. So they know that's why they built they built this what's the highway, that Belt and Road, right? The Belt and Road, basically it's turning Brzezinski's doctrine on its head, and they've said, all right, we're going to do Belt and Road and control Eurasia through this process. All right,
Belt and Road. Do you know that India has come up with its own corridors as well?
Yeah, they're going to try and but we'll get to that. But
we'll talk about that in another program.
Yeah,
but they have their own plans as well.
I know there is, but we don't have the money.
The money would come in from the partners.
Yeah, here is something that I get really cross about, and I'm going to ask you your opinion on this, right? Please just bear with me. We got ruled by the Brits for 200 years. We were completely subjugated, right? And the Brits ruled, parts of Africa. Most of these European powers did it, right? And they weren't good to us. Let's be honest with that.
One thing that I just like to, sorry to interrupt, like to add to what I had said earlier about dirty brown people.
Yeah.
They still hold it against India that we are still polytheists. They were expecting that we become
more monotheistic
by now.
Yeah.
Now that they had been there for 200 years and another 70 years that they've been trying.
Yeah.
And it still hasn't happened.
No.
And that is what pains them most, because
it's a lot easier if you're
in the MAGA, the main people that you have are the Christian supremacists there.
Yeah, no, I agree. But here's the thing, what I struggle with. I think we as Indians, and I'll talk about this as we as Indians, we have a Stockholm syndrome problem.
We do. That 800 years of subjugation has brought that in.
Without a fail, because we have had border disputes with China. No problems?
Nope.
We have had, let's just say, quite a number of people died. No problems. But it's nothing compared to what the Brits did to us, right? Even before the Brits left, 6 million Bengalis were killed, right? So yet, here we are as a country continuously going back to the West.
To the West,
yeah. To get their approval. It really astonishes me. And yet we're so dead set against the Chinese. We have not even killed a fraction of that.
I will add something to that.
Yeah.
The brown sahibs that were left trained to rule India were behaving like a vassal state.
But they were.
Europe, Germany is a vassal state. It's an occupied country. The US occupies it. Japan is a vassal state. Is controlled by the Americans. You have 40,000 American troops there. Likewise, South Korea after the South Korean War. So the other thing there is that Mr. Trump once thought that India would behave like his vassal states, right? Come and kiss the ring.
Yeah, they did.
He mistook the fact that Modi went to meet Trump as soon as I think that was early February, right?
The moment he was, I think it was the first head of state, wasn't
The
it?
first head of state.
Yeah.
Modi went there as a friend
Mm.
to discuss this thing out. He assumed he was a friend at that time.
Mm.
But I think Mr. Trump had that misconception that he came to kiss the ring, and that was not the case.
Mm.
And over all this period of time since the tariffs have come in place, he's been expecting India to bend down, but they have not bent down. They have shown a spine. And what is that has done is now people are beginning to have a rethink. Say, why do we really have to
Kiss the ring?
Kiss the ring. Japan said, okay, we're not going for. Remember in
the last episode you talked about it. Yeah.
The German foreign minister was in India. He was also beginning to talk about doing things differently.
Yeah.
He might be saying it for the sake of saying, but it is getting into their head, right? That probably, yes, maybe we should sort of stand up for once in a while rather than just keep bending all over the time.
It's funny, the European Union was actually brought in so that the Europe could stand as one and in opposition to any crazy things that came out of the United States. But right now they're just going in sync with everything. I mean, let's
because America controls.
Absolutely,
Europe,
right? That's basically the EU. The NATO headquarters is right opposite the EU headquarters, so that kind of tells you everything what's going on.
In Europe, I think the only country that acts sort of a little differently is France. France also had a 1,000-year war with the Anglo-Saxons. They don't like being under the Anglo-Saxon yoke because under NATO and Europe, they try to do things differently. They have sort of an independent foreign policy from other Europeans. They have the only country that has their own nuclear deterrent.
So the British.
Yeah, but then the British nukes
are controlled by the Americans.
Are put in, are using American missiles.
Yeah.
Earlier,
so they can't fire.
Earlier, I forgot the name. What missiles they were using earlier and what they're using now, right? So yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, it's funny. The Brits are supposed to have their own nuclear weapons, but the fact of the matter is the Americans control it. Because the missiles are actually American.
The missiles are American. Their delivery systems are American.
Yeah. So they can't fire it without the Americans saying, yeah, you can fire it.
So
right?
France, like I said, is independent.
France is independent.
If they want to fire a bomb, they can go ahead and fire it.
Yeah, because it's under they run the whole thing.
And they are looking sort of a way out. That is why in the coming days, you probably will see a better, a closer relationship between India and France.
It's always had a very good relationship.
Yeah, it's going to get stronger.
What do you mean stronger? How do you explain that? How strong can you be? Because let me ask you this: we buy all our planes from them. We buy all our submarines from them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of technology transfer. The saffron guys are coming in.
The saffron guys are coming
in. So what exactly? France is not that big. Okay. Yeah, we all talk France. But
it is not a big country.
Right? We are 1.5 billion people. How many? What's the population of France?
I mean, if you start looking at that, all the Europeans don't even make up 1/3 of.
Exactly. So what exactly is France going to bring in?
Better relationships, right?
What is a better? Okay, explain that to me.
More technology transfer, more trade.
In what?
Science, technology, arms,
military
engines.
Okay, yeah, but that's high end.
Yeah, it's high end, but you're still going to come in. That is what we require. I mean, to. The doctrine of being powerful. If you have a good defense and you have good weapons, then you are a peaceful state. Then your economy also grows. But if you're not strong and you're struggling to put up your build defense equipments, then you tend to spend a lot of money from outside.
That's what fundamentally the Ukraine war has exposed. If you don't have your own built defense industries, you're stuck.
You're stuck. Right?
Yeah, you're completely. Yeah, absolutely.
Then the other thing that I see is India and Russia getting closer, but it would be interesting to see who would succeed Putin and how the new successor behaves after Putin leaves. Because if you have the wrong person in place, so whatever Mr. Putin has done in the past 25 years, will all go down the drain.
Yeah, I think that's applicable to any country. I do have one more. I do want to say one more thing here, if you don't mind. And let me just kind of step in. One of the things about the SCO that is also frightening to the West. So India trades with Russia, right? The biggest thing that they're talking about is the laundromat. We're laundering money or whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is, India is buying Russian oil with rupees, all right? And the rupees that they have, they're investing in India.
Yep.
The Chinese are buying gas with the yuan, right? Yes. And then whenever Russia is buying things from them, they use the yuan that they have to. So basically, what it means is that the dollar is no longer the currency they're using in exchanging of goods, right? So it means the Americans, no matter how much they want to try and control it or sanction, it's sanction proof now, right? And once people start seeing that happening and they're saying, hang on a minute, these guys are trading with their own currencies, local currencies. Brazil is trying to do the same thing. That's what they've done with when he put up 50% tariff on Brazil. Brazil started selling the coffee beans, to the Chinese, right? The Chinese were paying in reals, right? And then when Brazil wants to buy, they're paying yuan. So it's outside the SWIFT system. There's no more control, and that frightens them because the United States power rests on three things, right? Finance, military, technology, right?
Control.
That's the control, right?
That's the control,
right? So
they're losing control on all three.
Yes.
And one of the other reasons why this, I think there were discussions, those are not made public. A lot of the BRICS countries were there.
Yes, they were.
They were. Yeah. So it was sort of an extension of the BRICS meetings.
Yeah.
Lula has asked for a high-level meeting as well.
Lula wants the currency thing to happen. He's desperate for that.
And apparently that has been discussed.
Yes.
The alternate monetary system needs to come in. One of the most interesting parts of that SCO trip was the conversation between Modi and Putin.
Okay. I thought he was in his car for 45 minutes. Nobody knows what he said.
Yep. He waited for Modi for 10 minutes for him to finish. And then they drove for 45 minutes. And then another... Once they reached the venue, they were still sitting in the car for another 30 minutes. And then they had another meeting with the officials. Because initially it was just Putin and Modi. And the next meeting that they had, the formal meeting, was for 50 minutes with
all the officials. You know what I think?
So everybody is very interested in knowing what was discussed for that 45 minutes.
Exactly. Because you know what? I reckon because he's sitting in the Horus, the beast, the Russian beast. So,
there's no bugging there.
There's no bugging there. No bugging. Nobody knows what the hell is going on, right? Or there are only two people that knows exactly. Obviously the Russians know what's being said, and the Indians know not the Indians. Only the Prime Minister knows what is being said. Yes. So between these two, they've basically discussed something, and they've said, God only knows.
They have come up with some plan.
Obviously, something has brewed there. So nobody knows what the hell these two are discussed, right? So it's really, really,
including the Chinese.
No, that's it. Including the Chinese. There's no bugs.
The Chinese will be like, man, why these two guys come in our country and sit down and have their own discussion?
Indeed. It's. I think that was no question. That was a boss move by Putin. He just said, "I sit in my car. Nobody's going to listen to this. We're going to have a one-on-one, mano a mano."
I would be very interested in what was discussed there.
I reckon it'll be quite.
And Putin is coming back in December to India, so I think that will continue.
Yeah. So one of the things you did mention was Germany and the German foreign minister being in India, and they're beginning to talk things. I'm going to kind of circle back to it if you don't mind.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
And then the European president, what's her name?
Von der Leyen.
And those guys also had a telephonic conversation yesterday with Modi.
Okay, the EU president.
The EU president.
Von der Leyen, yeah.
Yeah.
What
The
was she
lady
talking about?
and what's one of the other chairman or something like that, the European chairman.
Wasn't Trump, by the way, been asking the European Union to put sanctions on India?
Yep. So these guys came and talked, and they said they want to speeden up the trade agreement talks that are happening.
So they're going against Trump, or they're
it's too early to say, but that was certainly discussed.
Are they so scared that they think that if India moves too much into the orbit of the Chinese and the Russians, it's problematic? So let's just try and fix things up before it gets too much, before Trump's completely does things that are completely.
Because Trump has been threatening that he's going to go 2 times or 3 times. His second stage and third stage. He's going to move into second stage and third stage sanctions and actions against Russia to try and stop the war.
Whatever that happens. Never going to happen. Well, it will happen in the sense they'll put more sanctions, but it's not going to stop anything.
Yeah.
It's never ever going to stop anything.
So I don't know. Maybe we should just wait and see what happens.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be fascinating. I mean, look, the world is in flux. Yeah. There's no the power balance is now moved where it was like say the West is here, the East was here. It's now come to the position where it's more or less balanced, and I think it's only a matter of time before this thing goes up. The East will start doing
because you see, you have the global South, you have ASEAN, you have a few more people in Europe that are willing to work with you guys. When I mention you guys, is India, China, and Russia. The West is working its way in getting to be isolated in a way.
It's counterproductive and it's
counterproductive.
Yeah,
and that is what West is also several same voices in the West are realizing that, and they are trying to.
I mean, look, it's
avoid that kind of a situation.
Well, will they come to their senses in time though?
No, it will be too late because things would have moved on.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because today, if Trump says, okay, they are removing sanctions, I don't think India would go back to the same level of trust.
There's a trust deficit.
A trust deficit.
Look, let's be honest. I mean, it took 25 years of trust-building measures to take India from being extremely untrustful of Washington to where it was today before Trump came and did it and just unraveled it completely. I just want to say a couple of things very quickly, and then we'll close off the podcast. When the Europeans were getting their gas from Russia, they're paying about, I think, $6 to $10 per BTU or whatever. I don't know. It wasn't a lot, and what they're getting from the United States is double that. So basically, the cost of gas or LNG, in case from coming from the Americans, is nearly double the cost they were paying from the Russians. So as a result, the cost of goods production and everything
is going to go up. On top of that, they are going to pay tariffs to America as well. Remember?
On top of that, they're going to have to do tariffs, right? So
and then they promised increase their budget by 2% for NATO.
It's never going to happen.
And
they're all broke.
They don't have the money. They
don't have the money. No, absolutely not. They are completely broke.
France and Britain are planning to go to the IMF for a loan,
which is unheard of. Have you ever heard that?
I think the last time Britain went was sometime in 1976 or so.
Right. Okay. They have done it before that.
One time they had, but more and more people going down that line.
Yeah.
It is unheard of. So I think the desperation in Europe is beginning to show. And
it is. I mean, look, but they did it to themselves, right? They did it to themselves by doing what they did. Because look, after Second World War, Bretton Woods came around. Americans said, all right, we'll be the, you use our dollar to exchange goods. And the understanding was that you're not going to, be a dick about it. But now what has happened is that they have weaponized it to the point where they're just sanctioning everybody. If they don't like you, they just sanction you. And so it's got to a point where people are like sick of it, right? And when they saw what they did to the Russians, they said, oh God, if they can do it to the Russians, man, we're nothing. Yep. And so that's basically one of the problems that is creating this de-dollarization. Yes, you wanted to say something?
So, de-dollarization, do you know that India has been reducing its
Yeah.
foreign exchange that's held in dollars
Yeah.
and shifting to gold?
Yeah.
Likewise, many other countries are doing so.
China just dumped half of it.
So I think India has reduced it from 84% to about 72% recently.
It's not a lot, but yeah,
It-
the trend is what is
The trend is what it is, and they are planning to bring it down to about 24% in the next 5 years or so.
Okay. There you go. So if they're not going to purchase any more
Dollars.
or bonds, America can't finance its debt. That's where it's going to go, and it's going to be a problem for them, right? Anyway,
Japan and China also have dumped. They're not buying the treasury bonds anymore. So
no,
you are in trouble there.
Yeah. Anyway, so kind of circling back. So you were talking about Germany, and basically the guy being there, and he's kind of talking to a different side of the mouth, basically saying, yeah, we support India, whatever it is that they do. That's fine. I just wanted to kind of take things back a little bit. When the Germans surrendered, right? When the Germans surrendered after the Second World War, I don't know. Well, for those of you, if you're not aware, the Soviets lost 27 million people. The Chinese lost, about 4 or 5 million people. But we'll talk that one another time. And one of the things that Stalin offered to the West was, after the war ended, was saying, okay, let's make Germany a neutral state, very similar to Austria. All right. So basically meaning, look, we will withdraw our troops, you guys withdraw your troops, let them be together, but they cannot, just be like Austria, be neutral. The West didn't accept it. Why? Because the Brits were scared, or actually the Brits and the Americans and the French were scared that the Germans would remilitarize again. So they said no. But what they also wanted was that they wanted to create a new military alliance, and that's what they call NATO, and they wanted the Federal Republic then in that. So this offer of Germany being neutral and everyone pulling back, just like Austria, if they'd taken it up, we wouldn't be in this situation now, this Russia-Ukraine thing and a whole host of things, right? So what I'm trying to say now, history has always taught us that, the Berlin Wall and the Russians were terrible. But the fact of the matter is, there was a lot of on offer which the West turned down. And I know a lot of people are not aware of it. The West turned it all down. They had the option where they didn't have to do this. And so what we're going to talk about in our next vlog, and I think Chad, AK, is somebody he's very passionate about, is that he wants to talk about 1947 onwards till today, all the wars that, every side has been involved in. And let's just do a compare and contrast and see who has been the aggressor. Am I right? Is that where you're trying to go?
Yes, and who is actually causing, or the reason for those wars, and what the reasons were, and then we break it down region-wise, and then we'll probably end up finding a common person there. A common country, a common region.
And we'll find out who is very keen on sovereignty and who is not.
Yes, and then we'll take it up from there.
Exactly. And on that bombshell, we'll call this podcast off. Thank you very much.
Please like, subscribe, and do add your comments so that we are able to see how you are taking the podcast coming through. Thank you.